Okay, guys, how are we all? We're good. I'll go get cracking. I know everyone wants. So thanks very much, everybody, for coming. It's your Easter holidays, and everyone has work and has kids, has training. So we really do appreciate you coming along. Can everyone hear me okay at the back there? Okay, no worries. So again, we really do appreciate you coming along, and special thanks to Cycle Superstores, Rachel and Robbie, and Ian from Orca, who's just there, and he'll come talk to us, for allowing us to have a chat and putting this on. So we won't hold you too long. Big Rose sends his apologies. He's actually coaching tonight, so he couldn't let down 30 kids, so unfortunately. So you just have myself and Tom.
Sorry
and so we're just going to get going with a little presentation. And then if you have any questions right at the end, we'll all have a chat about them. And again, no matter how old we are, sometimes we don't like to talk in front of anyone. So we'll be hanging around if you want to have a little chat afterwards, okay? So hopefully you get a little bit from it. We're not going to go into too much detail. Is everyone here, I know most people here can swim, is there anyone here just beginning to start open water swimming, or is there people that are really, beginners? And is there people that looking to do channels or anything like that? So everyone's normal, okay. That's good. Sarah, I can see Sarah putting her hand at the back there, kind of way ready to go. Okay, all right, and this is Bruce and Lex, who you will be coming to listen to in a few years, because they're even better than I wish I was when I was their age. So they'll be doing all the stuff. So, okay, Lex, we hit the next screen there. So obviously that's myself, Tom and Ro. Again, Ro, apologies that he's not here tonight. All right, keep going. We're going to have a little video, we'll play that afterwards. Keep going, Lex. Okay, so who are we? Myself, Tom Rose, we said. My mum, Marion Lee, she coaches, she does the beginners, she's excellent. And we also have Kevin Conroy, who's our lead safety kayaker when we do the clinics. And we also have two other coaches, Conor Morris and David Campbell, who also help us out in the baths and do a bit of coaching with, okay? So our background, as anyone I'm sure knows who we are, there's nothing that we haven't swam in, from every pool around the world, from international to national events, from the English Channel, for the North Channel, to every lake and river that I could possibly know of in Ireland and around the world. And now mostly we're really focusing on coaching. We've done team managers for the Junior Europeans at some Ireland as well. So not only are we coaching you guys, but we're helping coaching other kids that are going to be at a level that we hope to see in the Olympics one day as well. And like I said, and we've done all our coaches that we can so far, and we keep going all the time. So, and English channels, I mentioned that.
Yep.
English channel, that's it. Okay, keep going, boys. So again, this is just us here in a nutshell, hence we do wear a bit of Orca gear, to say the least. I used to not wear wetsuits, and it's only in the last few years I've really gotten into them. I can't get over the difference. They do, without doubt, make you faster. There is just no question of it, okay? I was so much before when I started, I actually wore them in the neck. So we had a training session, one in the neck, without the neck. I've raced home with and without. I cannot get over the difference that a wetsuit will make to you. If you wear it and you get measured for it and you wear the proper wetsuit, okay? They cost money, and for a lot of people, it's, we're all trying to watch our pennies, especially the times that we are now. But if you're going to invest in a wetsuit, I urge you to please try it on first. Come to Rachel, who is... Rachel, where is she?
She's upstairs.
She's upstairs, there she is. Rachel is just incredible for fitting wetsuits, and I am 5'6", I'm about 60 something plus kilos, and I wear extra small wetsuit, okay? When I bring it after when I'm swimming in the morning and I hang it up, the lads slag because they think it's one of the kids' wetsuit. I look at it, so it should be, it shouldn't be going down to your wrist and down to your ankle. They're meant to be tight. You feel like you can't breathe in them. So I really, when you're wearing a wetsuit, yes, starting off, if you want to get a cheaper one, I get it, but if you're wearing a wetsuit that's too heavy for you, it's just not going to do what it's meant to do.
Yeah, and just on the wetsuits, as I say, Rachel, just talking about different sizes. If you look at size on wetsuits, I'm no expert, but I bought enough of them over the years. There's a small, medium, and large, but then within each size, then there's sort of width-wise, weight-wise, you have small, tall. They're just incredible because you really, really need to try them on. And when you're starting off, if you're going to use them, they are an investment, but think them as a long-term investment, because they do open the sea to you much earlier in the year. Like, people are starting to get into the sea around nowish, where you wouldn't really think, well, I certainly wouldn't get in at this time of the year without wearing a wetsuit. So just make sure that they fit properly, because if they don't fit properly, they'll be very cumbersome to wear. They'll let in water, people that's filled with water, and you'll end up working so hard with them, you just get your wetsuit and you won't use them. So it's really, really important. You'll see them online, you say, oh, that's a medium Orca. Don't fall for it, come and try a size on and get fitted for them, get measured for them. very, very important. And especially this time of the year, even consider wearing gloves, booties, these hats, the neoprene hats here as well. You can put them underneath because you get the old brain freeze as well when you're trying to put your face in the water this time of the year. But the suits are very, very individual. And as I say, I wear an Orca Alpha. The people wear all different types of suits. If you're kind of a weaker swimmer, a lot of people maybe have to let their legs drag. Some of them actually have extra panels built into the legs, so they keep you in a nice neutral position in the water, so they make it easier. Most of them for thermal protection. But when I'm swimming, the one I have here, it's really, really thin where the blue part is, because when you're swimming, it gives you that extra flexibility to race, you know what I mean? So they're very, very individual, so don't just buy online and go, oh, that looks great.
I love
you really,
the
really have to.
But recently I got this newer one. I keep forgetting the name of it. And I find it brilliant. But the Equip is a fantastic wetsuit as well. All right, Lex, keep going.
You don't need to spend big money on them, but the most important thing about them is that they fit you. Okay. They really, really fit you well. Like, you know?
So why are we here? So we're just going to talk about why we're here. Safety, okay? Both myself and Tom are firefighters in Dublin Fire Brigade.
Used to be, sorry, I'm retired.
Yeah. So safety for us is the number one, because if you go in for swim and it's not safe, then don't swim, because we'll be the ones that have to risk our lives to come and get you, and it's just not worth it. So if it's not safe for you, do not swim. It is not enjoyable, okay? We're going to talk about transitioning from the pool to the sea. We're going to talk about training, which is really important, fear factors, hypothermia, which is very, very real, and I know I have been hypothermic once and it was horrific. Skills and drills, race preparation, which is really, really key to everything, and again, wetsuits and goggles at the end. So we're expert coaches, and to say expert coaches probably sounds, I've been coaching since I was about 14, 15 years old. I'm 45 now. I've been swimming since I was 3 years old. You know, I never stopped trying to learn about swimming. I'm big into, there's always a lot of new changing in swimming, so I embrace change. I think it's really, really important, but I'm also really aware the fundamentals are key, and that's something that we pride ourselves in coaching. We actually feel that people can benefit from our expertise, and there's a lot of the girls here that are here today, when I met them, they couldn't swim because of their dogged attitude, their hard work. They're now doing open water swimming, and they are flying, not just in little swims, but racing as well. We see the significant numbers of people swimming the sea, especially due to COVID. We could see how many more people are swimming, so we want to make it safe, and we can help you by sharing what we know. All right? So safety is the number one priority, guys. Let's be honest, in the sea. So you never swim alone. Bring someone with you, okay? Whether it's if they're not swimming, they can just watch you, even if you're just going from Billy to Jack. All right, make sure you tell someone, I'm heading to Sea Point. I'm going for a swim. I'm going to be there about 20 minutes. So at least they know, look, she's not back in an hour. She's not back. Something's happened. Always have a spotter, someone to watch you. Be seen. Wear high-vis swimming hat and toe float. I cannot. These toe floats are, I actually think, are the best invention since in open water swimming, okay? You have the safe, secure ones. Our kids have them. We have the Orca ones here, these bright orange. Look at the colour. You will be seen for miles in these, okay? From helicopter, from a boat, from shore. Every time you get into the open water, you need to wear a toe float, okay? I wear them, Tom wears them. Make sure they're tight, make sure they're fully inflated, okay? When you're wearing a toe float, guys, if you're tired, you can hold on to them. Now you can put your keys into them. I just cannot, and you can get them everywhere. Lidl are selling them. It's just something that I think is just so important for everybody to have. A Garmin or a watch doesn't have to be a really expensive Garmin, because if you're swimming, you're going to say, right, I'm going to swim for 15 minutes. You're having a look. Which way is the tide going? You know, I'm going to swim 5 minutes up this way, going against the tide. That means you're going to fly back in 2 minutes, or vice versa. But if you don't have an idea how long you're in the water for, then your stomach starts to quiver. Oh my God, how long am I swimming? You need to know how long you're in the water for. Signs of hypothermia, which we're going to talk about. So that's what we're saying. We advise people to wear a neoprene wetsuit. Local knowledge. When you get down to any beach where you're swimming, especially if you go on holidays, you go to the west, don't be afraid to say to someone, are there rips here? And they're prevalent in the west, okay? Is it safe to swim here? If you see nobody swimming a beautiful beach and there's good people around, maybe it's not the best place to swim, okay? Is there surfers there? Okay, if it's a surfing beach, don't swim in a surfing beach. There has to be another place to swim. If there's lifeguards there, swim between the flags where you should swim, okay? Check the wind and weather forecasts before swimming. Check the types of tides, spring, neap, low and high tide. So just about the tides.
And just on the local knowledge, a lot of people, or most people, have some access to social media. So if you're going somewhere, get on Facebook and see, are there actual local swimmer groups in. If you're going down to Cork, there's a Sandy Cove Swimmers down in Cork. Up the north, there's a group up the north. There's a group in Salt Hill and Galway. If you're going away further afield, we've gone over to the UK, and you just I guarantee you,
yeah.
because of COVID and the pandemic, everybody's swimming now. So there's organised people, and it could be just a loose group of people that meet at 11 o'clock on a Sunday, but at least you're swimming in a group of people. They're familiar with the air, familiar what's going on, because lifeguards, they're only going to be on the beaches for June, July and August,
even,
and then they're gone, if even. Do you know that kind of way? So you're better off hooking up with people of a similar mind, similar sort of values, if you like, you know what I mean? And they'll have the local knowledge as well, like, you know, very, very important.
And just on the apps now, we look at all the apps for the tide, so we know when is high tide, when is low tide. Is it a spring tide, okay, or is it a neap tide? With a spring tide, guys, you're going to have a much more higher volume of water, okay? So it's going to be a lot higher, which is great, but when that tide starts to go out, there's going to be a lot more pull in the water, okay? Compared to a neap tide. Do you want to take over there?
No, just going to say, people think spring tide and they think the time of the year. The spring tide is nothing to do, it's to do with the cycle of the moon. So you get a spring tide every 4 weeks and you get a neap tide every 4 weeks. And basically a spring tide is just a bigger volume of water. So the high tides are higher during the spring tide and they're much, much lower. So sometimes you might have rocks that may not be exposed, but if they're on a very low neap tide, they're going to be exposed as well. So just stuff like that to know.
So we swim the English Channel, we always make sure you're going in a neap tide because you have a less lower volume of water, okay? Just things to be aware of. All right, Lex. Okay, so most important, what is the water temperature? The Dublin Bay Boy on Twitter updates the water every 20 minutes. It's 9 degrees at the moment, okay? I don't get in, I used to swim all year round, I don't get in until it comes up to 12, okay? Dexterity, if I want to swim longer, I know I'm going to be in for longer. When it's under 12 degrees, for me, it's my personal choice, I don't swim or we don't coach in water under 12 degrees, all right? So just be aware of the temperature. And on a beautiful May day that's probably going to come soon, it could be 20 degrees outside, the water temperature might possibly only be 10. And you're going to swim along and then all of a sudden when your stomach starts to quiver, the hands go to claw, you feel like you can't breathe, you start having these irrational mad thoughts. You could be 200 metres out, you mightn't had your toe float because it's such a lovely day, then you get in for a dip. Please, please, please check the water temperature. That's why we're always parallel to the shore.
And on that, you shouldn't be 200 metres out.
Yeah, fine. But still, in case you are. All right, so post-swim, layers of warm, loose clothing. So you have these beautiful dry robes here. I have my eye on from Orca. All right, they're absolutely gorgeous. It's like a blanket inside, but you can get dry robes anywhere. And most people, I see the signs, people slagging them. You know, I'm not going to say what they say. I have loads of these. I think they are absolutely phenomenal. You can get dressed in them, they keep you warm. If you're a soccer mum or dad and you have to go to the matches, they are fantastic to wear, okay? They keep you warm. You need to have layers of clothing. The last thing you take off when you get out of the water is your hat. Keep your hat onto the last thing, then put on your warm hat, your gloves. I now have really bad Raynaud's from all the years of open water swimming and sea swimming, so it's really, really affected me. I have to be very careful when I swim now. I actually got a pair of the Orca swim gloves and I find them brilliant. They're not really heavy. So when I swim, I'm kind of judging when I'm going to swim because my hands just go so bad. So I just, warm hat and gloves, you know, forget about the knickers, guys, and the underwear. We don't need to wear anything. Just get the clothes on you and get warm.
Forget anything has buttons, zips, laces, you know what I mean? So you're talking up boots, tracksuit bottoms, anything loose and loads of layers.
And we all have them. Before I go swimming, I get a 2-litre 7-Up bottle. I put warm water into it. I wrap my clothes around it when I get out. I douse myself with the warm water, okay. Then I have my clothes on me and I'm just warm. Just little things like that, because nothing as bad when you're trembling in the car going to work and you just can't even talk, okay. Oh, I have it there anyway. Earplugs. Anybody here wear earplugs when they swim? Yeah, I think not swim with earplugs is just, you know the dizziness you get when you swim, all right? It stops you feeling dizziness, okay? I know it's awful, it can make you very, very sitting, make you feel like you're sick, you're gonna get vertigo. And I'm talking, I wear the cheap earplugs that you get in the pharmacies, you know, like the little foam ones. It keeps that equal balance in the ears. If I'm swimming for more than an hour, I do not swim without my earplugs. The channels always had earplugs in me, and I just cannot tell you how I feel they are. Tom doesn't wear them, but he doesn't get sick in the water. You do get sick, you feel that, and it takes a little while to get used to the water. I swear by earplugs, even if it's warm. Just a little thing to think of, okay? And this is really important, advisory notice on beaches. You know when they say don't swim, the beaches are closed, it's for a good reason. It's not mostly because of E. coli levels, all right? Don't swim. If it says prohibition, don't swim, don't swim. All right, they're not doing it because they don't want you to swim, it's for so you don't want to get unwell.
Yeah, and on that, if it's a prohibition or prohibitory notice, don't get in. If it's an advisory notice, we're all grown up so we can make our own decision, but I wouldn't be swimming if there's high levels of effluent in the water, because it's usually in the summertime when you get them, and it's usually after really, really deluge of rain, because the drains here are not designed the Victorian system here, and what they do is they overflow. And what the water treatment or Ishka Air they'll do is they'll just purge any excess water, and they don't treat it. They'll just throw everything out into the sea. So you'll see on the likes of... And it's very good now, because any local authorities will put it up on their websites and put it up on their social media. But when you go to local beaches, you'll see a notice up, and it'll either be an advisory notice not to get in or a prohibition. And they'll tell you for so many days, because they'll only test it they're not going to test the water every day. So they probably won't come back for 2 or 3 days to test them again. If it's a prohibitory notice, I wouldn't be getting in. I just wouldn't get in.
Right, Lex.
We've all been sick, myself and Rachel, over the years.
Very, very sick.
We're sea swimming a long time, and you're kind of wondering, oh, why was I so sick? Because years ago, nobody told you, like, you know what I mean?
Projectile vomiting on the beach.
It's not a look. It's not a look.
Yeah. Now, if it's not safe, don't swim. So we only coach in a safe environment and controlled space. So when you come to our clinics, obviously we do it at safety, okay? Qualified, we have safety kayakers qualified as all swim clinics. Tow floats and safety whistles, which are on our tow floats, are compulsory just to get attention. High-vis hats. When you swim, do not swim with a white, blue or green hat. Has to be high-vis or black. You will not be seen. And I'm talking as a coach and as a firefighter, okay? You will not be seen in the water. And it might be something that you actually one day might go, thank God I wore that pink hat, all right? Embrace the pinkness, lads, all right? We have small numbers to provide a control coach to our swim ratios. So when we do our clinics, we normally have 1 coach for about 8 swimmers. And if they're very, very nervous, we have less, okay? We do emergency action plans and risk assessments. We have a body defibrillator, first aids, and again, we're all qualified paramedics. All right, Lex. Right, so what is the transition from pool to sea? So, as I always say, it's great that you're swimming in the sea, but have you done your mileage? Have you done your initial swimming in the pool? Learn to swim in the pool, control your breathing in the pool, get your fitness in the pool, because when you go into the sea, a lot of people I get that can't thread water, they can't scull. You need to be able to scull. Efficient swimmers make effective scullers, okay? You need to be able to scull, it's so important. You need to be able to lie on your back. Can you put your goggles on and off while threading water? Because there's no deep, you can't touch the bottom in the sea, all right? When you're going to breathe, whether you breathe every 2 or 3, it's up to you. That's fine, a lovely calm pool, but when it's really choppy and you're starting to get a little bit scared and you're going, I can't get my breath, oh my God, it's my wetsuit. It's not, it's all up here, okay? Can you hold your breath for 4 to 6 strokes? Because when you take a breath and you're at the crest of a wave and you swallow the wave, put your head back down, take another couple of strokes. You need to be able to, I'm okay, I can hold my breath. So being able to control your breathing in the pool is so important before you decide to just take on the sea. Water temperature can have a significant impact. 22, 23, 26 degrees in some pools. You're going into 12 degrees water temperature. Straight away your breath is going to be gone, all right? We don't have that black line, that lovely black line that we see in the pool. There's nothing, it's dark. If you're going into a lake, you can't see anything, all right? Marine life can affect your swim. We're going to talk about that. Water depth can cause issues. And then we'd already talked about the environmental factors. All right, Lex?
And just at this time of the year as well, when you're getting into the open water at early summer, always swim for time, not distance, and build up your time in the water. So it's like you're acclimatizing to the actual sea temperature rather than the distance. Most people say, oh, I'll swim a kilometre, no problem, if they swim 40 lengths in the pool. But swimming a kilometre is very different when the water is only 12 degrees, because you might get out halfway and then suddenly find you have to struggle to get back. So just build up your time. And that's just saying, always wear a watch. It doesn't have to be a Garmin. A normal, just a small waterproof watch. At least you're aware what time you're in the water, because sometimes it can seem like forever and be a very short time, or vice versa. You know what I mean? So just to be aware.
Because even at that, we're going to show you a video now, because if you're doing your kilometre, you're 500 metres there and 5 metres back, 500 metres back, no bother. That 500 metres is going to be with the current. Fabulous, even flat calm. That 500 metres coming back against the current can take you more than double the time, and you're exhausted and you're cold and you can't get a breath and you've seen jellyfish and your head is like, what the hell am I doing? All right? Okay, so winter miles bring summer smiles. I swear by it, really, really important. If you're going to train, if you're going to race in the summer, have you done the mileage in the pool in the winter? The amount of people that come to me in June, Rachel, I want to do a triathlon next week. What? Next month. Yeah, I'm going to do a 5K sea swim. Brilliant. What have you done for the last 6 months? If you're going to plan a race, and we talk about race preparation, it should start a year, 2 years before. I wouldn't even think about doing a 5, 10K swim unless I've done a bit of mileage, okay? If I was to do another channel, I would be looking at 2-3 years because I want to make sure I can do it fast, I can fit, and I'm ready. Never, ever, ever think, oh, I'm fit. I always get this all the time as well. I'm a runner. I'm super fit. Are you now?
Cyclist.
All right, that's great. They actually die in the water. Like it's so technical. Like again, the breath, and again that that you're in that water and your heart is beating and you're going, I can't see anything. It is dark here. Oh my God, what is that? Where is everybody? Where am I going? I want to get out. And we'll talk about how we deal with that as well.
And 1,000 metres in a pool is 40 lengths. So you can stop every 25 metres and hang onto the wall and grass. When you're doing a kilometre in open water, there's nowhere to put your feet down. You can't swim in a straight line, and somebody is inevitably going to be swimming past you like that as well. Like,
They don't mean to, but they'll swim into you.
But they will swim across it, and people don't like that sort of having the competition, like,
So if you want to be the best, and that means the best at your ability, you have to do things that other people aren't willing to do, which means go swimming. Oh, I can only go at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's grand. I get up at 5 o'clock before I go to work still. If you want to swim, you have to find the time. Even if it's only twice a week or it's once a week, that's fine. Your body will get used to it, but you have to be willing to train.
And we've coached plenty of triathletes over the years, and I find they'll actually quite happily do a 100k cycle rather than do a 30-minute swim. Like,
All right. So push yourself out there. All right, Lex. Okay, so honesty. So be honest, okay? I still keep my swim journals. I write down everything I do, and I go, oh my God. So write down, right, what am I going to do this week? What am I going to do this month? We're going to talk about that periodization in a minute. Be honest in your training. How much of a session did you actually do? Did you do 2K? Did you do a kilometre? Was that kilometre maybe a 200 metre warm up and you actually only really swam 800 metres hard? Write down and be honest in your approach. Your approach to training. What time are you going to train at? How often can you go training? Who are you going to train with? If you're going to take it on board, guys, and you have a family, make sure you talk to them about it, because it's going to take out of their time, out of your time. All right, not everybody be supportive. And you do need support if you're going to race. You need someone to say, you got this, you can do this, you can train. You have to have that support, all right? So plan your event. Have you had enough time to train? So if you want to do a race this year, have you done the training over the winter? Okay, is it in September? How can you start training now? Not if it's next month, all right? Because if you're going to train, you're going to spend that money on do it properly. I would say just forget about it this year. Let's focus on it next year, okay? So you feel good about yourself. And then when you're standing there, you have that confidence. You can look at yourself in the mirror and go, I've trained, I've done this, I'm ready. Rather than going, Jesus, I hope this goes well, all right? If we take on, we do a lot of training plans for people, and we take people on if they want to coach. But I'll only take them on if I know A, they're going to train, B, they're going to give it a good few weeks or a year before they do something. I won't take anybody on that says, I'm doing something, I'm going to do it next month. I go, look, I'm not the coach for you, all right? Because I really believe in building confidence. You have to have a lot of failures and you have to do a lot of training in order to have that. So take into account your routine, work, family, life balance, all right? Money, pool availability. How often can you swim? What time can you swim? If you go to a pool and there's just people walking there, have you got a lane for you to swim? So do a little bit of research. You're going to train with a masters club, that's great, but they might have a coach. They might only do a few sprint sessions. So you got to make sure you can train for you. What distance are you training for? If you're thinking about doing 10K swim, all right, which anyone can do a 10K swim once they train for it, you want to be looking at training about 20K a week, all right? I wouldn't expect anyone to be swimming 10K sessions, but you want to be doing about 7 or 8K now and then, a couple of times a month to know you're able for. It's like running a marathon. You wouldn't run 26 miles, but you would run 21, 22 miles, okay? And swimming is no different. And don't forget, in a marathon or a cycle, you can stop, all right? You can have a little rest, you can walk it off, you can put on a jumper, you can take off a jumper. In the sea, you can't, all right? So you have to be ready for it. What is your average swim per swim session? So we average about 5K every time we swim. So we know we have an hour and 15, we can do that 5K, an hour and 20, because we know we might want to get some technique in, we want to get some leg. So if you only have an hour and your session, you're going to do a warm-up, you're going to work on your kick, because everybody here has to kick, all right? Are you going to do your drills? So you mightn't even get that 2K in the hour. So that means if you're going 4 times a week, you're getting 8K in a week, and you want to do 10K in 2 months? No, not going to happen. So you have to be really honest in your approach to swimming and what you're going to do. How long is each session? All right, so have you got, like I said, an hour, hour and a half? If you only get 3 45-minute sessions in a week, that's brilliant. Come in the summer, you might get an hour in the sea, but you have to build up to everything. What times you're holding for 100 metres? That's the first thing I ask somebody. If you're going to be swimming, I know if I can swim all day long, I'll just hold 120s all day long, all right? So that means 1 minute, 20 seconds for every 100 meters I swim, okay? And that's me cruising, taking it easy. If I want to go a little bit faster and hold 1 minute 15, 1 minute 10, I get a bit tired, so I won't be able to do that for an hour. So I might do 10 100s holding that. If you can do 2 minutes per 100 meters, that's great. But can you do it for 30 100s? Because if you can, that means you're going to swim 3K an hour. And again, hey, Red, come on, walk a shame, up the front. Red's a fantastic swimmer, so she's one of us, she's cool. So you just need to know if you're going to swim 100 meters. So I always say to people, do 10 100s. So 4 lengths or 2 lengths, 10 times your best average, as hard as you can. Do them on 3 or 4 minutes. And every time you come in, look at time, right, I went 155. I find some people, they might come off on 145 for the first one. But the third one, they're on 2 minutes 20. So A, they're not fit, but that's not realistic. But they might hold 2 minutes. And if you can hold 2 minutes per 100 meters for an hour, that's phenomenal. That's 3K an hour you're going to hold comfortable, all right? Now, don't forget, if you can swim 3K an hour, that's brilliant. But can you do it when it's choppy? Can you do it when it's windy? Can you do it when you're cold? Can you do it when you're tired? All right? So swimming in the pool, I'm a much better sea swimmer than I am a pool swimmer, all right? I don't know why, it just suits me better. So you've got to be able to know how you swim. I know what rate I'm holding when I'm swimming in the sea, but I'm looking at my Garmin. You need to know your swim stroke, your swim rate in the pool compared to the sea, and that's really, really important. That takes a lot of time and practice, okay? So we said, how many sessions are you going to do per week? Be honest with yourself. I would love to be able to get 5 sessions a week. I can't get 5 sessions a week. We might get 4. He's retired and he can, but I can't. So that means that when I swim, if I do get 4 sessions one week, I might try and get 5 sessions the next week. But when I swim, I just don't speak to anyone because I know, right, I want to get 5, 6K done in here, have to go to work, have to this, so I'm here to swim and that's it. I always say to all my swimmers, are we here to swim or are we here to train? All right? If you want to go for a swim and enjoy yourself, that's great. But if you want to train and enjoy yourself after you've done the event, that's the difference, okay? I always say it's you and the clock, you and the water. I'm always telling my boys that. So when you're going to train, if someone's slower than you, don't be afraid to say, listen, I'm doing this session, join in if you want. You have to be true and honest with yourself, especially if you only have 2 sessions a week to train, okay? Because if you're the nice person, it's not going to help you when you're near right. So be honest with yourself. And what's something I get everyone to do every month if they're in our training plans is a time trial. I still would do an hour time trial once a month just to see where I'm at. So it means you're getting in for 15, 30, 45 minutes or 60 minutes, depending on what you're up to, and swim non-stop. Put your Garmin on, swim non-stop for that hour. What did I swim? Oh, swam 4K, delighted, that's great. And see, they do that for 3 months. Oh, I got 4.2, got 4.3. Or if you're going backwards, there's something not wrong. It's just a good indicator to see where you're at. Or if you're going to do a 2K race, get in and do 15 minutes, non-stop. What did I swim? What did I hold? Right. I'm going to do that in 4 weeks again. I'm going to train, and you'll see yourself getting a little bit faster. Does that make sense to everybody? And not swimming. No one's going to swim for, Fiona Hillary, you're late. Fiona's our butterfly specialist. She's going to be giving a demonstration on it now. So just be honest with yourself with your swims, okay? All right, guys, next one. So structure to your swim sessions is really important. So you have to do a warm-up, okay? You can't just get in and start swimming. Now, if you're going to start swimming channel swims and you're going to start training for 20, 30K swims, then when I was training, I didn't do any warm-up because when you're doing a long swim, there's no warm-up. You just need to get in. So you need to train your body right and getting in and swimming. All right, so that's a difference. But for normal sets, we would do a warm-up. We would do a preset. So just getting the body moving, getting everything activated. Legs are so important, okay, with your kickboard and your fins. I hope everybody here has a kickboard and fins. I cannot emphasize the importance of kicking. It's really, really important. Even if you only do a 2-beat kick, that means you kick left and right every left and right stroke. It gives you balance, gives you propulsion, keeps your legs together, keeps you high in the water. If you just drag your legs and you don't swim, even if you're a triathlete, all that blood is stagnated in your legs, you're going to feel tired and you're pushing yourself through the water. So legs are so important. What are your strengths? Legs and then your main set. So you're going to say, right, am I going to do a main set of 1,500 meters, 1,000 meters, 500 meters? Doesn't matter what the main set the distance is, but how are you going to swim it? Are you going to do 5 200s? Are you going to do 10 1000s? Are you going to do 15 100s every third one B stroke? You have to have an objective that you're going to reach as your main set. Then that's when we do our drills. Might put in our snorkel and start working our drills and then do a swim down. Don't just get in, swim and leg it because you're going to build up that lactate muscle. Strength and weaknesses in the pool. I know my strength is my catch. My weakness would be my kick, so I'm back working on my kick again. Some people, you know, and if you are a good kicker or you're using the fins an awful lot, make sure you take them off, okay? Just use it for 20% of your session. Paddles the same. I love paddles. They make you so much stronger. They give you such a good catch to anchor your hand in the water, but you don't want to overuse them as well, because when I was training for the channel, I made, by the last year, was just me. I didn't use anything else, any aids, because there's no fins or there's no paddles in the channel, or a long swim or wetsuit. So again, it's about being honest, okay? If you want to do a 5K swim, but you're doing 3K sessions and you're using fins and paddles for most of it, you're going to find by the 3rd kilometre in the race that you're going to be a bit tired. And that's when you have to look at your training, okay? Do you use the abs, as I say, anything but swim. That's the people that use the fins all the time, you know, doing their backstroke. We're not going to do backstroke in the swim, so just to be aware of what you're doing, all right? 60-second clock. So, you know, the big clock, that's the 60 seconds in every pool. You need to know, you know the pace clock, you need to know how to use a 60-second clock. You need to look at it and go, right, I'm holding 205s there, rather than stopping and look at your Garmin, which drives me mad, because you need to know what you're feeling, you're swimming. Look at that clock, right, going again. You only need to take 5-10 seconds rest between every 100, okay? If you're swimming and you're training and you're doing 100 metres or 500 metres, stop and take a minute rest. But sure, you're only fooling yourself, because there's no rest, there's no wall in the sea, all right? So this is all about training now for the pool, all right, so the sea. If you have a coach, right? Everyone's great to have a coach, and every coach might coach different, and that's fair enough. We respect all coaches, but if you have a coach and tells you not to kick your legs, maybe question where they're getting their coaching background from, okay? And have realistic goals. Okay, I wouldn't get in and say, right, I'm going to do a channel again this year. I wouldn't be able to do it. And if I did it, it'd be it wouldn't be the way I'd want to do it. So have a realistic goal. Some people's goal is just to get in and they want to swim a lap with the boys in Low Rock. And that's brilliant, and I'll swim it with them. And then next year they're going to go, right, now I'm going to start racing. So make sure if you're going to do a swim, and I know everyone here can, but it's realistic and within your strength. Don't just go, oh God, my friend's doing 5K down at Glendalough, I'm going to do it. Because they're not going to be there beside you at 2.5K in the second lap when you're going, what the hell am I doing? Standing there shaking, all right? Swim for you and for nobody else. That's one thing I really, really feel is important. All right, Lex. So how often should I train? Well, again, it's up to you. What are you training for? Okay, so if you can swim 3 sessions a week, 3 good 1-hour sessions a week, brilliant, okay? And then come the summer, get an extra one in the sea, or even use, maybe a 3rd session could be a bit longer one in the sea. That's brilliant, you know. Twice a week, you'll just keep your maintenance, but you're not going to get really fit. It's about fitness, and that's where we see swimmers lacking all the time, okay? So if you're swimming, like when I was swimming for the channel, I was swimming probably only 4 or 5 times a week, but my minimum session would have been 12K. So I was swimming 12 to 16K every time I swam. So before work, after work, you know, with babies and working 2 jobs. And I had to make sure my time management, and I knew I had to hold 4K an hour no matter what. So I'd get in, where I have 3 hours, I'll get 12K in, I'll do 4 hours. And I was just like that. I wouldn't speak to anybody, because if you miss a session in 1 week and then session the next week, that's 24K going out of your training plan, or 4 and 8K. So little things will make a big difference in the long run, okay? So we have like marathon swimming, Ironman, 70.3, triathlon beginner. So it's all about maxing your time. So how often should you train depends on what you're actually training for, okay? Types of sets, the periodization cycle. So I would have sat down with Tom and we would have planned my session. So I would have had my session for the year, the goals that I wanted to done. I would have had my macro cycle, so what I've done for the year, my mesocycle, what I know I'm going to do every 4 weeks, and then every Sunday I would sit down and plan my week, right, my microcycle. And I'd make sure I always, what's the word we say for the front load your week? So I'd know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are going to be big sessions, because if you're getting a bit tired, or the kids were driving you mad because they were only babies at the time, I knew I could fall back on. Or if you got sick, or if I was at a fire or something, I missed something, I go, how am I going to get that 16K? Where am I going to go? So I had plan B.
Yeah, and this sounds very, and you do any coaching course, they talk about your training cycles and that, but basically...
It is important.
Yeah, no, it is, but just to simplify for anybody else, you pick an event, what you're going to do. So if somebody comes along and say, we're doing an event in August, then you work your cycles back, and they're usually in 4-week cycles back, so your training blocks. So you'll have, say, a 6-month major cycle, and then down to a monthly, down to a weekly, and down to a daily, like, you know. And as Rachel was saying, in that weekly plan, you might say, I have to do 30K that week. And you try to do it as early as you can in the week, because inevitably something's going to happen during the week where something crops up, you can't do it, and then you're on the back foot straight away. Come Saturday, you're like, I have only half my training plan done. So better off to try to do it early in the week and then ease into the week, rather than being in a situation where you're struggling to make the time, because it's very easy for things to get away from you. So you pick your goal and then work backwards from that goal. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, this is my mum Mary in the back there, who stays at our club. She arrived late. She was our coaching. And my dad Mick, who does security, safety, our head coach. Tea, makes the best cup of tea. All right, there. And we couldn't do anything without them. They're the ones that kept us going for so long. So minding the kids and everything. So they're the best. All right, hit it, guys. All right, so you never regret a swim. So you can see here, this is a couple of photos from Tom in the North Channel. The ones of myself and Tom are even worse. So you can see he's freezing cold, not looking too happy there, has to go back in again. All right?
There's no glory in the swim, you know what I mean? It's only afterwards when you do well and you go, thank God.
You never regret a swim. You really don't, no matter how bad it is.
Despite my face there. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And my best swims are the ones that I failed in. The ones that I didn't do great in, because that's where you learn from.
Just go to the next slide there, because
I
can't look at myself
wait. Before we go, the reason I put this up is before we go to the next one, we just put a little video, and it's a crossover between Tom and Ronan. Now you'll see Ronan swim. He looks like he is barely moving in the water. All right, he's holding 4.5 km an hour. The water looks flat calm. You're gonna see, note when Tom takes over from him, okay, you'll see Ronan, he just shoots like that. So this is what I'm saying. When you look at the water, that's flat calm. There's probably no tide in it. It is unbelievable, the difference. So this was Tom after one of his many swims in North Channel, feeling absolutely brutal, and you have to get back in. So he hit it there.
And just 4.5 k is holding 40 seconds for 2 lengths.
Let's hit the play. So this is Ronan swimming here.
You can see Ronan, he looks like he's not moving at all, but he's actually holding 4.5 k in an hour there, like, because he's swimming into a current, like. So as you can see with the preparation, see how close we're swimming to the boat there? So the boat is protecting us from the wind, which you wouldn't think is actually really choppy there. Tom, after being sick earlier on, is about to stand it. The water's only 12 degrees. It is thousands of lion's mane jellyfish all around the place. I can honestly tell you, it was the most horrible swim I've ever done in my life. That's the North Channel between Northern Ireland and Scotland. So you're heading for Port Patrick in Scotland there. So you can see with this is an official there telling you when you can get in. He's a jellyfish spotter. This chap here is spotting for jellyfish.
It's a nice
just getting the Garmin
day.
down.
So again, it looks like he's barely moving, but he is holding 4.5 k an hour. The Garmins can prove it for you. And just Tom's about to dive in now and see the difference in Ronan.
So when Ronan stops now, you just see him being swept towards the back of the boat. When he actually stops swimming.
Now see, he's just stopped there now, and look at him being flying back, okay? So
that just shows you the head current that you're swimming into. And he looks like he's really easy, but he's actually swimming at, as I say, 40 seconds for 2 lengths.
So when you're swimming and when you prepare for this, you got to if you're going to do a channel or take it on from anyone, can you dive? Can you jump into the water? Are you used to swimming a boat? Do you breathe to the left? Can you breathe to the right? Because if you breathe to the left, you can see everyone. If you can only breathe to the right, that means you have to go to the other side of the boat, which maybe the exhaust is coming from. As I said, when we swam the North Channel, I kid you not, it looked so beautiful. There was just thousands of lion's mane, and we all got stung to bits. That was a joy of it. And you're feeling awful, you're shaking, but you have to get back in, And while it was a horrible swim, I didn't regret it. It was the best swim we did. It was one of the best swims we did,
We actually set a world record for that, for a 3-person going across the North Channel. But as you say, there's no glory in it while you're doing it, because it's just awful.
So what we're trying to get at point is, if you're swimming and you feel absolutely horrible and you feel, oh my God, it is so worth it. And if you do a swim and you don't finish it, write it down in the journal. Why did you not finish it? What happened? Was it your head? Did you get a cramp? Then you have to think about, what did I eat before I swim? What did I wear? Was my wetsuit too tight? Did I not have a wetsuit on? This is where I get preparation and training. You need to write everything down. I can look back at my journals for all my races. I did a swim in Barcelona. We had to do a 6-hour qualifier. When I had to do a swim in Barcelona, it was for 6 hours. It's part of the channel. You had to swim at 14 degrees under. Wasn't feeling great. Went and did it. After 2 hours, I got out. Tom found me walking along, crying. Couldn't do it, right? And I said, this is it. I can't swim the channel. My mom's mind the kids. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. So Tom said, right, stop it, you lunatic. We went home. Why did I not swim it? Well, I wasn't feeling well. I was sick. B, I had to put on a couple more kilos, which I did. So we went back 4 weeks later for a day. I had a day left to go and do this because you have to work. So I went, we flew out at 3 o'clock in the morning, started swimming at 7 or 8, did the 6 hours, not a bother me, flew back home, went back into work the next day, not a bother on me, all right?
This was Barcelona in March, it wasn't in the height of the summer,
No,
so the sea temperatures are similar to the temperatures of the sea
but
here,
I was
and
prepared.
that's why we went.
Yeah, I had written everything down, your mum was minding the kids, everything was sorted. But if I hadn't have failed that swim, I don't think I would have learned a lot about myself. So it's really important, if you fail at something, that's okay, all right? It's okay to fail at something. Write down, why did you fail it? What can you do to fix it, okay? You're gonna have lots of swims where you're gonna panic, where you're not gonna finish. It's just not gonna go right, but we'll get it right the next time, all right? We're all human. All right, Lex?
Okay.
Right, so irrational fears. Going to drown, going to get eaten, going to be stung, all right? We always think that, I'm gonna drown, I'm not gonna finish this. I still feel, when I start swimming, every time I'm going, why am I swimming? I hate this, I can't do this, there's people on top of me, I can't breathe, especially now I'm wearing wetsuit racing, oh my God, this is awful. 15 minutes, all that will just dissipate off you, and you'll go, I'm doing this. This is a privilege denied to many. I've trained, I'm ready, I'm confident, I've done my training, I've kicked my legs, I'm here, okay? So it's all a mindset. Once you keep saying to yourself, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, your body will keep going. The second the doubt creeps in and you say, I can't do this, your body will just stop. So even if you don't think it, just keep saying to yourself, I got this, keep going, and your body will just follow, okay? Rational fears, yeah, cold, yeah, you're gonna get splashed, you're gonna get kicked, you're out of your comfort zone. But sure, of course you're gonna be out of your comfort zone, because if that was the case, everyone would do it, okay? Lack of preparation, okay? Okay, maybe you're not prepared, how are you going to deal with it? And cramps. I see a lot of people cramping, and I've gotten cramps in my diaphragm. It's a horrible thing to do. So why are we getting cramps? Is it because we've eaten, because we haven't eaten? Is it because, again, the wetsuit's too tight? Is it maybe a lack of your sodium levels? Maybe you need to start sipping drinks. But now is the time to focus on this, not the day of the race. Your feeding has to be done to a T, especially if you're doing long swims or you're doing triathlons, okay? Because it's one of the main things, seasickness and cramps from not eating is one of the main reasons that people fail the channel in long swims. So make sure if you're feeding now, you know exactly what you're drinking, know exactly what you're eating. I think I ate half a bowl of cornflakes before the channel. I'm still the same. I cannot eat before I swim. Just can't do it, all right? But I'll sip my energy drinks.
Like feeding
no
is quite different to fueling, you know what I mean?
And it's very personal.
And it is very personal, but for stuff like long swims, and if you're doing a swim going into a triathlon, a cycle, you really do need to fuel. And it's about taking a carbohydrate drink, and everybody's different. What Rachel would use, what I would use would be totally different.
Not
and
a
that's
chance.
why you have to practice. And you have to practice swimming in your wetsuit. You have to practice swimming in the sea because it's totally different. So you have to really try simulate your conditions that you're swimming in, be it in a lake, which is totally different to swimming in the sea, be it in a river, which is totally different than a lake again, even though they're both freshwater. Like, you know?
And like I said, preparation is key, because when you're feeding and you're taking your drink, if you're doing a long swim, that's ground by the pool, tastes lovely, tastes totally different when you're drinking in the sea.
In the sea,
salt water, it's disgusting. It can make you very, very sick. All right, so that's why you have to be prepared. Dealing with the cold, the chop, and your skull and treading. Right, Lex? Good boy. So again, there's your jellyfish, your irrational fears, okay? When I was swimming, I used to always think the sharks swim in the water, you know, ridiculous. It's amazing what your head can do. And these compass jellyfish, it's only the stingers here that will sting you. They're actually not too bad at all right? So race preparation. So what race are you entering, okay? Your distance, your confidence, is it a pool, sea, lake or river? Have you swam in these types of waters, okay? Very different swimming. I don't particularly like swimming in lakes compared to swimming in a river or the sea. I much prefer swimming in the sea. I find lakes, you're a lot more heavier in the water because there's no salt, all right? It can be a lot colder as well, and they're very dark. I like to be able to see my hand under the water. In a lake, especially if you're going to be in Glendalough or anywhere like that, you're not going to see that, okay? What time of year is the swim? Okay, big difference between swimming in May and swimming in September, all right? Have you swam in a wetsuit? Don't leave it to the swim to practice in your wetsuit. Get into the neck, get into the pool and practice. Get in a little bit, all right? Make sure you practice beforehand. As we talked about already, does it fit you properly? Chafing, make sure you lube it up, especially in the sea, or your neck will be in bits, okay? It's so important. Goggles, always your spare goggles down your wetsuit. They will come off. Make sure you just throw a spare pair down here. I was looking at these ones, the Orca ones here. These are really cool. I always swim with polarized goggles because I hate the sun getting into my eyes. And these ones, what are these, Rachel? They're awesome, you were saying. Photochromatic, so they change from being polarized if you need them, or dark if you don't. So these are really, really cool. And earplugs. Always have your spare earplugs. All right, Lex. So again, we're talking about our race prep. So we have our polarized goggles, we have our toe floats, we have our wetsuits. I think a lot of races now, they're gonna make you, it's gonna be mandatory to have a toe float, okay? Swimming in a toe float when it's choppy is like being pulled back with a whip. It's really, really difficult. So don't be afraid to get in the sea. It's choppy. I'm gonna wear my wetsuit. Rachael and Tom always wear a wetsuit and practice with it. It's a good workout. It's gonna make you slower. Really, really you have to practice with it. Are you ready to swim with this? Has anyone swam in a mass crowd? Yeah. Very difficult. Are you swimming 2-3 people in lane practice because you're going to get that in the head, okay? That's why I have my spare orca goggles here. I'm going to throw them on, okay? That is very, very, I hate swimming in packs. I'm not used to it. Well, I am used to it. I don't like it, but now it's better. If you're not feeling good by packs, let them go. Let them, you'll catch up eventually. Don't swim in the middle of the pack unless you're ready to lead the pack, okay? Sighting. Have you practiced your sighting when you're swimming? Can you lift your head up and see where you're going? If you're swimming and you don't know the race, you don't know the route, you don't know how to sight, you're gonna get lost, and instead of swimming 3 kilometers, you're probably gonna swim 4, which is gonna make you even longer than you think. Okay, so sighting, even in the pool, when you're sighting, doing 5 200s, sight twice every length. Look up, pick something to sight. Don't just lift your head. Are you actually looking at something?
And on that photo there, you can see Rachel has her Garmin on. We race with Garmin's as well, because even though you sort of know you're in a race, but it's nice to know where you are in the race. So even in the Lee or the Liffey, where it's pretty much a straight run, I'd set the alarm on this just to vibrate every 500 metres. So if you're in a 2K race or a 5K race, at least you know where you are. On a Liffey or the Lee, you can look up and you kind of know the bridges or the landmarks. But we're going to Lanzarote now in a few weeks to race a 5K, and you just swim a laps of the boys. So it's just nice to know, okay, well, I'm 3K in, I'm 4K in, and it just, you can pace your race a little bit better. Sometimes the first 5K you go off, or first 500 metres you go off too hard and you go, geez, I better bring it back a bit because I've got another 4.5 to go. Like, you
and
know,
normally
so
after it goes to 500 metres, you kind of settle into your race, so it's good to have.
Yeah, it just gives you a little reminder where you are in the race.
Okay, so again, what is the sim course? Check out the sim layout. Can you walk the course? So have a little look beforehand, okay? If you're going into the island swim, you can walk around it, the Lee. You know, even the Liffey sim, it's dead straight, but it's good to know what bridges and where you're at, because sometimes you think I'm halfway and you go, oh my God, I'm only at the forecourts, all right? So it's really, when you get to O'Connell Bridge, you still have a good bit to go.
And people that hit O'Connell Bridge and think they're finished, they're not.
How many race boys? Count them. So I always know exactly where I'm going to swim, okay? Halfway point, I think that's really important to know where the halfway point is, because then you start to put the head down. The tide and currents, if possible. Am I swimming with the current halfway, or is it coming back and going against the current when you're going to be more tired?
And the Lee swim is a classic, because the Lee swim is 1,700 metres is with the flow, and then you turn the keys. So the last 300 metres is actually against the flow, because you swim up the north channel of the river.
So it's great, but just be aware of that. And are you racing or are you taking part? Okay, that's great if you're taking part. If you're there to race, race. Be ready. Don't be there to race and go, I've no goggles. Oh, Jesus, I don't know where I'm swimming, because everything's going to go. All right, so just be aware of that. And don't swim blind. Don't follow the crowd, okay? Don't follow your mate. No, take ownership and know exactly where you swim, okay?
Unless your mate happens to swim faster than it and knows where she's going.
No, it's always him. All right, so your race prep again, we talked, is really important, okay? Sleep beforehand. You're not going to sleep before a big race. I didn't sleep a wink before any of my big swims, but just rest, because otherwise you're building up all that nervous energy. And if you're getting really nervous and you end up going to the toilet a lot and you're having diarrhea or whatever it is, how everyone copes differently, just make sure you're sipping a nice tonic drink as well, okay? Kit bag, very the day before, not the morning of. You have enough to be thinking about without going, have I got my spare goggles, okay? Our bags are always ready to go. Hydration, keep sipping water, all right? Keep the wine and beer till afterwards. Hydration is key. Nutrition is really, really personal. Again, I don't eat a lot before I swim. I just get quite sick. I find after 6 hours in the sea, I would get very, very unwell. So I just know what I can and can't eat. Again, it's something you have to practice with, okay? Swim feed. So at least a year before, if you're going to do a marathon swim, or you're using the Max and the Torque or Energy, you've got to know how to use them, because they can make you sick. So if you're doing a long swim, or even if you're doing an Ironman, anything you're doing, start practicing now, because while they're great, they can make you very sick as well.
Yeah, and any long endurance events as well is to change your feeds. So you might start off on one particular feed, and then after maybe 6 hours is to change, because otherwise you can get ill from like a sucrose. So then you change your energy source to maybe fructose, or some people after about 10 hours, the longer swims or Ironman and stuff like that, you'll see them, they actually drink Coke, but it's flattened Coke and it has extra sugar in it. It's just to change your source of energy, because if you're just using the same source over again, it can just make you vomit. And if you can't keep down your fuel, you're going to
And again, we're talking about the preparation. You know, are you okay diving off if you're doing a channel, or jumping off? There's Ronan there. That's me out in the channel of Varn Ridge. When you're swimming, we swim really close to the boat, because I said it protects us from the wind. But the boat will stop for a little bit, okay, just because it's going so slow. So are you comfortable swimming out in that sea with 400 feet below you on your own for a little bit, okay?
And that's not Rachel's escort vessel. That's the Varn lightship that you swim past.
So you got to be comfortable in swimming and know what you can and can't do. All right, Lex, good boy. And feeding. So this is when you're in the channel, you get a rope attached to a bottle. So can you scull? I always had to go on my back. Are you able to drink while you're on your back? I took 20 seconds each time, because every time you stop, you could see the channel there. You're just going to go back. So, you know, if you kept stopping for a minute having a chat, that's going to be nearly 20 minutes out on. So I was it's the only time I didn't speak for 9 hours.
You need to practice your feeds, and you can see here that the feed is a bottle and it's just on a line, because that's how close you are to the boat. But if you actually touch the boat, it's classed as an assisted swim and it's not recognised as a swim. So the person on the boat will throw the fuel in, Rachel takes her drink, and then she just leaves that in the water and they recover by the string. Because if you literally put your hand on that boat, they won't disqualify you, but they just won't recognise your swim. Like,
and you got to practice that, guys, if you're going to do any feeding. Make sure you're aware. All right, Lex. Boy. So again, plan B, loss of goggles. Happened to us all, happened to me in Rotto Swim. Someone gave me a pair of goggles years ago then, so I've always had a spare pair of goggles. You get a kick, a punch to the face, no one means to do it. I see swimmers, and they swim as the vortex of water, they end up swimming on top of them. No one means to do it, don't take it personally, but just learn, right, I got a kick, I got a punch, I'm gonna keep going, all right? Cramp. Right, you get a cramp, I'm used to swimming with cramps now. You can feel in your toes, so you're, keep moving your toes forward and back. But if you get a really debilitating cramp, don't panic. Lie on your back, scull. Keep going the direction you're going, but you're looking at the people coming behind you, they don't swim over you, all right? Vomiting and diarrhea, okay? If you're gonna be in the water for a long few hours, this is going to happen to you, all right? So can you swim while you're still vomiting or have diarrhea?
We might just tailor to the newer swimmers.
Yeah, but that's what will happen if you're going to do long swims, okay? The chop. You're going to start off in a swim, it's going to be lovely and calm. Then the chop's going to come up. So can you swim in the chop? If you practice the cold, you're going to hemorrhage heat no matter what. So you're going to get cold. Can you swim in the cold?
Even if you're swimming in 23-degree water,
you're still
going to hemorrhage heat, believe it or not. Like, you know what I mean? So
jellies.
It's something to condition yourself for.
Do you like getting stung by jellies? You're going to swim with jellies. There's jellyfish in Ireland no matter what. So if it's a huge thing for you, then just don't swim, because come July and August, they're out there, okay? None of this crap, can you see them? There might be none there, you might get stung. There are jellies all around Ireland. You either like it or lump it, okay? Hence a wetsuit, you might get stung in your face or your feet, but it does protect you an awful lot, but just to be aware. And I know Orca have some deadly kind of long, just kind of togs that just, you don't have to wear wetsuits, they can stop, they will stop you getting stung from jellies, all right? Just something to be aware of.
And it's not like going to Australia where you get stung by the box jellyfish. It is unpleasant, and it might ruin your day, but it's not going to ruin your life. You know,
but it doesn't hurt while you're swimming. It's only when you get out the pain starts. So you're better off just keep swimming.
And if that's you're, look at it. We're talking to the local knowledge as well before, as you're what's anybody, somebody coming out, did you get stung? Well, maybe if you can see them in the water, and they sort of seem to travel in swarms, and then some days you go down, they're everywhere, and then other days you go down, they're nowhere. And it is pot luck. Maybe the days when there's loads of them around, you might just say, do you know what, we'll just give it a rest.
But you're going to get stung. So embrace it, get used to it. And if it's not for you, it's not for you, stick with the lake.
We've done, well, I certainly have, we live in Malahide, so the sea is 700 metres from the house, but there's times when the jellyfish have been so bad, I've driven up to Loch Lane, which is 100 kilometres away. You can go and swim there, like, you know what I mean?
Or go to the pool.
If you want to swim, like, you know what I mean?
That's it.
There's no jellyfish in the lake.
So what are you going to do? You're going to be prepared, you're going to practice, you're going to be confident, know how to scull, lie on your back. Don't be afraid to look for help, guys, if you need it, and you'll catch your breath. And take your time. So the rule of 15 minutes. If you're doing a race, no matter what, in any sport, give it 15 minutes. Let everything settle and then continue on, okay? Hypothermia, as you said, the average summer is 12 to 16, winter's 5 to 9, all right? Symptoms, slurred speech, shivering, loss of dexterity, so your movement, your fine coordination, unable to follow simple instructions. So if you're with somebody and they are just not listening to you, they're in trouble, so we got to steer them in, okay? It is not worth swimming and getting hypothermic. Go to the pool, because if you're swimming for 10 minutes in that water and you're not getting out of it, your stroke is going to be poor, okay? You're not going to enjoy it and you're going to have a negative effect. Now, it's great, a lot of people are into it and they're able because they're used to it, but if you're not used to it, That's where I said winter miles, okay? I would much rather go to the pool now, get 5 or 6K in, rather than go and swim for 15 minutes and end up in bits. But that's just me.
That's why it's really, really important to swim with somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody of a similar ability, because you're swimming together. Sometimes if you're swimming with somebody who's much faster, if they can swim ahead and then loop back towards you just to keep checking in each other. Because that's all it is. You're literally looking, eyeballing somebody. You okay? Yeah, what are we going to do now? And if you say, right, well, we're going to swim up to this, and they swim off that way, you're kind of going, well, that's not good, you know what I mean? And you really should be getting out at that stage. Or people speak like they have a stroke, they're sort of slurring their speech. It's time to get out. It's not time to have a chat and give it 5 more minutes, because you don't get any better. You're just going to get colder and colder, you know what I mean? So it's really important.
So again, build up tolerance how? Acclimatization. All right, so 5 minutes per day and build on that. Remember to watch how much time you spend in the water. Again, your journal, how long do you feel? If you're tired, if you're menstruating, everything can affect how you feel in the water, so just be aware of it, okay? Your post-swim, what you can do, as we talked about, the layers and the warm water, keep warm. And just know this after drop, okay? So that means your core body temperature will still start to drop. Very, very serious. So just, you know, we all want to swim and have fun, but at the moment I would be really recommending.
And that after drop is really, really important as well, because people get out of the water and they're shivering and they're grand and they put on their gear and they're still shivering. But what's happening is the blood that was out in your extremities is coming back into your core, and your core is warming that up, but that's actually dropping your core temperature. So again, where you have somebody there, you know, give it a few minutes before you get in your car and drive off, because that is really, really important, the after drop. You see people literally uncontrollably shaking, and that's because the blood has been heated in their core, but that's actually lowering your core temperature. So you just have to watch for that as well, like, you know.
All right, Lex, we're nearly there.
It shouldn't happen if you generally build it
choppy water, okay? Shorten your stroke. When it's choppy water, you got to shorten your stroke, guys, all right? If you have a lovely long stroke, it's not going to help you in the choppy water. So practice swimming choppy. Breathe in every stroke. So if it's really choppy, you're nearly sighting and breathing every time you swim, okay? And that's just what you're going to have to do. The crest and trough, so you know when you're up on top of the water, that's when you're sighting, and then the trough's down low, you're swimming, punching through that water, okay? Increase your work rate. If you swim slow through a choppy water, you're just not going to get anywhere. So it's head down and forget about your technique and swim fast, okay? Kick. Remember, don't forget to use your legs. Is it safe? So if you look at the water and it's choppy and it doesn't look safe, why are we swimming in it? It's just not worth it. Go back the next day. Better off going to the pool and training swims in choppy water. So if it's a safe place to swim, you need to practice in it, but not if it's dangerous. I'm conscious of the times we're going to fly out sight. Swimming around buoys, so when you see a buoys, guys, you got to know the direction that you're going in. So when you see that buoy, are you going to stay close to it, or are you going to swim a long way around it, depending where you are, okay? Really important to know where they are. Prepare to make the turn. So we always say beginners, stay out wide of the buoy, swim with your head up around it and keep kicking. Advanced, that's where you're going to swim into the line, do one arm going around that, and it's all things that we practice in our clinics and our training, okay? Or you can flip onto your back. Never stop at the buoy. I see so many people and they're coming around the buoy and then they stop and people start swimming over them. So as soon as you get around that buoy, you're sighting to catch the next one, swim, and then stop at a few meters afterwards. Don't stop at the buoy because they will swim over you, okay? Sight. So we're still sighting. Do not swim blind, okay? Shortest course possible. I sight every 6 to 10 strokes, no matter what, okay? For the whole swim. There's 3 types of sighting. It takes a lot of practice to become fluid. If in doubt, stop. Yeah, remember I said take off your goggles, thread the water, have a look. There's the buoy, goggles back on, rather than just keep going, hoping from the best. If in doubt, like I said, reassess. Don't depend on a lead swimmer. Landmark something, not a vessel, not a boat, not a car, something that you know is going to stay there, okay? And practice in the pool. So just a little bit of sighting every couple of strokes, really important. So this is if you're going to swim a pack swimmer. So if you're swimming with a couple of swimmers, like you will definitely, if I swim on Tom's hip or Ronan's hip, I'm going to reduce my energy about 30%. It's phenomenal, but you have to practice in it, because if you swim on their feet, they're going to kick you. I rather sit in their hip and just let them drag you along, and then you just give them a little and off you go. All right? You can do a V formation, or you can just go, I think it's hit from their hip and you'll be fine, all right? You're talking about less energy, 20 to 30%, and you're coasting from a swimmer, but don't coast from someone who's slower than you, because they're going to slow you down as well. So you want to swim a little bit fast, but you still have to sight. And if it's done properly, it's very effective. Okay, so exit in the water, really important if you're doing triathlon, visualize your exit, okay? And even if it's just a swim, always think about the visualize your finish, because while you're swimming, you're going to say, right, I'm going to swim hard, I'm going to finish in. You see so many people at swims, and there's the finish, and they start swimming off to the side, and then they have to come back again. Really important, okay? So beware of the waves breaking or the swimmers, the depth of water. Pop your goggles onto head. If you are doing triathlon, undo your wetsuit. Peel one arm first out, then the next. Roll your wetsuit down, and look. But we'll talk about that later, okay? But when you get out of the swim, no matter what, you're going to feel very dizzy. All right? So
that's quite important because you're swimming, and depending especially if it's a long race, you're horizontal for a long time, and then suddenly you're coming in and you're on the bottom, and then suddenly you're up on your feet. You see people they're sort of staggering in towards the finish because there's a rush of blood, literally. So it's just really important not to lose your footing as you're coming in.
And it's okay to feel like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we do a lot of clinics. So we always have our kayaker, we have our swimmers here where we're pointing. Everyone has a tow float, and we put buoys in the water as well, so we mark out a course. We do one-to-one coaches as well. On Lex. And then we have club sessions as well. So you have a club, you want to get involved, we do that. We do group sessions, so we coach in the pool and again at the beach as well, and all different places. We're now already started. We're doing a few swim holidays with Connor here from Swim Project. So we're going to Croatia and we're doing a few sessions as well. So that's something if anyone's interested as well, we can talk about that. So we do online coaching programs for people. We do talks, and anything you want to know, guys, on our website, just give us a shout. And we have, a lot of information on our website. Yep, keep going. And thank you for listening. So
that's enough.
So we're just bring it back up to the second one. So that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the talk. We kind of rushed it there. I'm very conscious of the time, and everyone wants to go home. We're going to hang around. Has anyone got any questions that they might want to ask to the group? Yes. Sorry.
I have one for you.
Yeah.
Like, with all your preparation, and you have your step by step.
Yeah.
Mentally, how do you?
Good question. Well, that's going to come with experience. And again, it's just about, I write a lot of things down. Okay, I really do. When I was doing my big race, I go, why am I doing this? Okay, what is my reason for doing this? Okay, I'm doing it for me. Don't swim for anybody else, because if you swim for anyone else, then it's pressure. You're doing it for yourself, okay? And mentally, I get through because I know the confidence that I have from my training. All right, and I've been doing it for a long time, but I'd always want to swim hard and do a certain time. So I get it from thinking about, I can do this, I want to do this for me, not for anyone else. So that's really, really important. So that's where I would draw from it. But also, you can do all the preparation you want. You can be mentally ready to go. The sea mightn't play ball. Don't forget, okay? And that's the whole thing about open water swimming, is that it's not a lovely pool that you know is going to be calm every time. Like that, it can change. So you have to be ready to adapt and overcome. But mentally, for me, it's just about the visualization. At night time, I think about what I'm doing, and I do still keep a journal, I write down my sessions and why I'm doing it still.
And on the mental stuff, the longer swims that we're doing, say like the channel, you're in the water for 10 hours and you can't touch a boat, you can't do anything. And a guy I actually used to work with, and he was a long distance cyclist, and he used to do Paris-Brest cycles, London, Edinburgh, all these mad cycles. And he'd cycle for 72 hours before taking a rest, and then sleep on the park bench for 20 minutes and then go off cycling again. But he'd always say, break it down into manageable chunks. If you stood on the shore looking at France thinking, that's a bloody long way away. But that's why you use your Garmin, and even in the race the same way you use your Garmin every 500 metres, you're breaking into manageable chunks. And on the longer swims, we used to go from feed to feed.
Take some you time.
Sorry.
Thanks. Well, you'd literally just swim from one feed to the next feed to the next feed. And during those feeds, or during the swims, you'll have peaks and troughs in your head. Geez, I feel great. And then suddenly, this is not good, you know what I mean? And you're hurting yourself, So it's all about expecting it, knowing you're going to have highs and lows, and how you cope with it, and to visualize it before you swim, sort of in your head. And it is hard to think, how can you visualize a 10-hour swim? But a 10-hour swim is 10 one-hour swims, do you know the way? Or 20 half-hours. Whatever way you can break it into manageable chunks. And that's how I found, for the longer stuff especially, because I'd go out to the aquatic centre and swim 18 kilometres in a swim pool. 18 kilometres in a swim pool is a long day swimming, you know what I mean, in a 25-metre space. And it's about mental approach, because you do have to be very comfortable with yourself, good with your own company and good in your head, because like as Rachel was saying, any doubt you get...
Yeah, another question here, yeah.
Can magnify it again. Sorry.
Honestly, I don't. I have started. I've used the TheraBands now. So the long bands. There's this long piece of plastic, and I would just start doing a few exercises there that I've started doing. I would use a lot more warm up in the water for my for warm up exercises. I started doing a bit of yoga. We have a couple of yoga teachers here, so just a bit of stretching like that. But if I am going to do warm up, it's all dynamic. So it's all a lot of movement, no static stretching. But I find the TheraBands now that I'm using quite a lot before, if it's just for 10 minutes before if I can. It's normally the reason I don't do that is because I haven't got time, you know. But these guys do, and I do a lot of the TheraBands, so I find them really good and get them online.
Can I ask for a beginner who's
Yep.
transitioning
Yep.
to open water, sea or river? What would be the
Well,
better transition?
well, like it depends where you are, but I would say the sea, because the river you're going to go from A to B. You're not going to go back up to A again. Where sea, you can just swim. All it has to be is a 200-meter space, not even, and swim forward and back and get used to it. So if you can, the sea, but it's whatever you have open water you have close to you. So it really is, and it's totally the taste. Everything is different in a river compared to a sea. So it depends what event you're training for. Any other questions, guys?
Sculling. Sculling is like treading water, isn't it?
Yeah, it's your feel of the water, okay? So it's as soon as you enter the water and you're getting your catch and you're exiting, all that movement, you're sculling. So it's about cupping your hands, doing a figure eight with your water and letting your thumb feel in the water. And just doing this tiny bit of movement can keep yourself up. You haven't got to kick. You can line your back and can relax you a little bit.
Like treading the water is kind of hot, staying. It's sculling, but it's like in the one spot. Where sculling, you actually propel yourself through the water. So we would do drills where you're actually moving from one end of the pool to the other, and we've probably got about 6 different areas of your stroke that you can scull with. So they're very, very similar, but there is a difference from the fact that sculling is actually propelling yourself down the pool, where treading the water is staying in the one spot. Like, you know.
Anything else, guys?
And just where do you do your coaching?
Okay, coaching. So we coach in the Knack, we coach in Trinity Pool in Donamead, and then we coach in the baths from June to September. So on Wednesdays and Sundays, and then we do a little bit of one-on-one and group sessions in the sea as well. And this year we do plan to do our clinics again, so fingers crossed. Okay? That okay, Ian? Or thanks so much, guys. You just want to talk about anything?
No. If anybody's got any questions, we'll be upstairs. If you've got any questions on what suits or products.
And again, thanks so much to you guys for everything. So much appreciated. Thank you. Thanks for everyone for coming.